So the last time I covered this dude, Becket Cook, I was angry. He really pissed me off. I'm gonna try not to let that happen again today, but rage might come out again. What is up, you heathens and demons, you beautiful, blasphemous people? Welcome back to A Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and today we're looking at Becket Cook again. I'm gonna try not to get all pissy. But first, got a shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Your continued support is making this channel better. Much more Patreon content is on the way, getting way ahead, so I'm gonna have lots of extra time for Patreon. So if you would like to become a patron, link is in the description below. Alright, so picking up from the last time we let this Becket Cook story, this guy goes on the 700 Club, had written a new book, Change of Affection, and is telling a story about how he came to Christianity. And it's been a complete bullshit story from the minute he started breathing it. Don't believe me? Then, go watch it. I'll put it up as one of the videos at the end of this video. Go watch it. Bullshit from the very beginning. And the bullshit doesn't stop. Let's continue the story.
As soon as I walked into the church, it's in an auditorium in a high school, I heard Christian worship music. And I forgot Christian music existed. And so when I heard the music, I was like, oh gosh, Christian music. Because it had been satirized so much on different TV shows and so I was just like, oh no. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's not bad. Actually, it's good.
First off, dude, what kind of church is this? I mean, it's in a high school auditorium. I mean, sounds suspect. But Becket Cook must have the worst memory in the fucking world. In the first video, he said that he had a Catholic upbringing, he was raised Catholic, but that he somehow forgot everything about that upbringing and he didn't know anything about the Christian religion. And now he's saying he had completely forgotten that Christian music even fucking existed. And the third bullshit thing about this first clip is he said, he liked it. There's no way that you immediately liked that shitty music. I mean, it has to take years of indoctrination to develop an ear that can appreciate Christian music. I mean, at least that's just my opinion. I mean, I think it pretty much sucks.
And then I found my seat near the front of the church, and
wow, went right up front.
I went up front, and the people who invited me, I didn't see them. I don't know where they were, but I just walked up and sat by myself. And then the pastor came out and started preaching on Romans chapter 7. And while he was preaching for an hour, and while he was preaching, everything suddenly started shifting in me. And it was weird because I didn't know what was going on, but everything he was saying, every word he was saying, every sentence he was saying was resonating as truth in me.
I mean, again, I just have to call bullshit. He's trying to explain this supernatural experience that came over him, and he is discerning that everything that this preacher is saying is truth. And he is utilizing classic tools of manipulation. He is this classic snake oil salesman selling this fucking myth to make a profit.
In my mind, my heart, and I was like, this is the gospel? What he was saying about the gospel was turning everything I thought religion was on its head. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the gospel. And it was really, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I didn't want him to stop preaching. Wow. And then he left the stage, he left the pulpit, and he had invited people to get prayed for on the side of the church during the second part of worship, which lasted 30 minutes. And so there was a guy over on the side of the church, and I was like, should I go over there and ask for prayer? And if I do, it's humiliating. And what if this is all wrong? And what if it's all fake? And so I went over, and this guy, I said, I don't know what I believe, but I'm here. And this guy was like, well, let me pray for you. And
I mean, literally, preaching a sermon about one chapter of the gospel is not the gospel. And I mean, it's clearly just a bullshit story, but I wasn't there. I wasn't in his skin, so I don't know. But it just rings as untrue. It just rings as propaganda that the 700 Club and these fundamental fucking Christians are going to use in their war against LGBTQ plus people. And I also think that he slipped up there. I don't think he's in a high school auditorium. I think that he lived a very privileged life, and he spoke to it earlier in the first video, when he was talking about how he had already lived all of life's experiences and he was looking for new things. And that's one of the reasons he decided to go to this church, is he'd already lived all those experiences. And so, you know, that speaks of a life of wealth and privilege. And he slipped up in this clip and said that when the preacher left the stage, and then caught himself and said when the preacher left the pulpit. I think this dude went to a very super rich, wealthy, super church. And I think he's spinning this narrative to make money.
He laid his hands on me, which was weird. And then he started praying, and I just, the prayer seemed so intense and so powerful. And I remember thinking, how does this straight dude love me so much? Because the prayer was so full of love. And
like, no, they literally don't love you. They literally told you that you are a sin. But there are plenty of straight dudes that are compassionate and care about their gay friends and their gay family, that care about human rights and equality. And it doesn't require a God to get there. In fact, a lot of us fighting for these things are godless people. And we don't want you to change. We want you to be able to love whoever you love. We want you to be able to have a life with whoever is going to make you happy, as long as it's adult and it's consensual. You know, the people that you just said, that said this prayer that was so full of love for you, have no love for you whatsoever. And in fact, are going to require you not to act out on your same-sex attraction, which you'll be speaking later on in the series.
And then I thanked him after the prayer. I went back to my seat, and I was processing the prayer, the sermon, the worship music, which was still going on for another 25 minutes. And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit just like overwhelmed me. It was like Paul on the road to Damascus kind of thing. It was like, and God was like, I'm God, and Jesus is my son, and you are now adopted into my kingdom.
I mean, he can't even say it with any kind of genuine feeling. He is just relating a story to sell his book. There was no experience, and I would hope that God would have more grace and elegance, that if he's going to actually speak to a human being and try to change them from being the gay man that they are, that it's going to be a little more than, I am God, Jesus is my son. Like, hopefully you get a little more revelation than that. But it's an obvious tale. It's an obvious spin, so he can sell this book that he's trying to sell to people that despise him. And those people, they'll buy that fucking book because it feeds the narrative of why they should despise him.
And I was like, whoa. And it was like Isaiah in the temple when he sees the holiness of God. He comes undone, and I just came undone. I started bawling uncontrollably for the rest of the service. And I was crying so hard that people around me were actually worried about me. And I just knew, and I was crying over the joy of meeting Jesus Christ, but also crying over the sorrow of my sin.
So this meeting of Jesus Christ led to such joy that he cried, but it also led to such sorrow that he had to cry uncontrollably, so much so that these people that despised him were worried about him. And it was sorrow at his sin of homosexuality, his sin against God of loving the people that he loved, of living the life that he wanted to live, of being a free human being, free of the yokes of this Christian war god from 2,000 years ago. And here's where we're going to start getting into this narrative about how you cannot be gay and be Christian. At least you cannot be an active gay person. You cannot be acting out on your same-sex attraction and be a Christian. That's what this video is about. It's why it gets me so fucking angry. This turncoat here is feeding a very dangerous narrative in this country, and he needs to be called out, not just by me, but by everybody. So we have a lot more to go in this story. I hope you guys keep tuning in for it because it's only going to get worse. As always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. This is A Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Tell all your friends about Nakasuchi and how crazy we be getting. I'll see you soon.